What's going on, you guys? It's Keinan Briggs. Today we're going to focus on a proper summer camp for track and field athletes. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube to kind of get an idea of what's coming up, what's next, and how this track and field world is evolving when it comes to the educational side for the coaches and the athletes. And what I'm seeing is a lot of good concepts, a lot of good training, a lot of effort. A lot of athletes are really inspired, especially with this being the Olympic year. First thing that comes to mind with a summer camp is I'm seeing some coaches mistake what a summer camp should be, and it's understandable. So the first thing what I'm seeing is some high schools are now utilizing a summer camp. The issue is it's money driven. And what I mean by that is these summer camps are 1 week long. They cost, $100 or $200, whatever it may cost. Athletes are coming to join this summer camp, and it ends within a week. Now, no matter what you're doing, a 1 week summer camp will only be beneficial to the athlete if that athlete is learning some very specific knowledge for their event or events. For example, if it's athletes are coming in and they're learning how to hurdle, if they're learning how to hurdle and the technical aspects that are going to prepare them for training, then it makes sense. But if you're showing up for 1 week learning how to hurdle, jump, and all those things, it's more like a cram session. It's more like a how-to. It's a quick, here you go, and then that's it, and it's over. And there's not much learning done within that process. Now, to go further with that, there are a lot of college camps, and the college camps would ideally make more sense because you would assume a college coach would have more knowledge, more information than a high school coach, just based on the type of athlete that they're working with. But again, the college camps have pros and cons. The pros is that you get to meet the coaching staff. The coaching staff gets to meet you. They get to see your work ethic. They get to see your builds, your potential, your movement skills, all these things. It's a really good thing, and I think that it's worthwhile to go because you're exposing yourself to these different coaches and different experiences and opportunities. Now, the cons is that most of the time, from my experiences, is that the athletes are doing way too much during this window of training. Now, the camp may be 3 days, maybe a week, an overnight stay. Again, these things are really fun. However, if you're at a jumpers camp and you're jumping in the summertime and you haven't jumped since early June or May, and now you're spending the first 3 hours bounding, and then take a lunch break and then come back and then jump in the pit, and you're just utilizing all these muscles that you haven't used in the past month or two, it's dangerous and it could cause injury. For example, there was a pole vault camp. Our pole vaulters from our high school went to this camp, and on the way back, we found out that one of our pole vaulters broke her back. Another athlete hurt her hamstring. Another athlete hurt her quad. Now, again, these things don't normally happen, but it makes sense if you have an athlete who hasn't competed for 1 or 2 months and then throw them into an environment where they're pole vaulting 3 days in a row back to back to back. And that typically doesn't even happen at practice or any track meet to think of. None of them jump for multiple hours back to back to back, which is causing a huge problem. My suggestion is we need to change the format of these summer camps. Now, they could be more classroom setting, or maybe the timing of the camps need to be better on the calendar schedule for the athletes. Right now, they're just in favor of the coaches because the coaches are available in the summertime. It needs to be more tailored towards the athlete. My belief on a summer program isn't just a summer program that starts and finishes. It's a summer program that starts the season. So when my athletes come in, the main focus is to start off their movements. I have seen some other coaches that understand this template, But when they start this summer training program or fall training program, they're having them do high intensity explosive workouts, which again is going to put the athlete at a huge disadvantage if they're overworking them. So for example, showing up for the first day and running multiple sprints. If an athlete has taken the whole summer off, that could cause injury. If the athlete just shows up and they start jumping and bounding and doing things on the track and wearing spikes, it's too soon, and they're going to end up in this category where they could easily cause injury. Just take, for example, if an athlete is running a 400-meter dash. They're going to start strong, their body, mechanics, everything's looking good. When they get to the end of this race, they're going to break down, they're going to the mechanics are going to falter, they're going to be tired, and etc. When you start in the summertime and you're planning on competing at your best at the state championship in June or late May, that's a lot of time to be jumping and sprinting. So what eventually happens is your body only has so many high-end performances, only has so many reps of high-intensity movements, so many triple jumps, so many long jumps, so many sprints within the body before it starts to fatigue. It's going to be kind of out of gas when you need your body to be helpful, successful, and actually firing on all cylinders. So you got to really break down your training to separate parts. In my mind, a perfect concept of a summer camp is to get the body in order. Now, once an athlete finishes season, they are to rest. And when they rest and when they come back, they need to be able to reactivate these muscles, fibers, and strengthen any weaknesses that they've had before. If they had any injuries before, the goal is to take those injuries, and now that they're rested, is to get them stronger to catch up to the rest of the body. Because if not, then the body will stay at this difference in strength. Then those muscles will then fatigue faster and cause another injury the next year. The focus is on grass motor skills is what I teach. It's the movements, it's the mechanics of running. Now, it takes more knowledge to be able to explain where the arms need to be, where the legs need to be, the posture, rotation, and all those things. But if we don't get it, then we keep watching either these videos or all the videos you can watch to get more insight and knowledge within your sport. But the summertime is to focus on motor skills, predominantly flexibility, because most athletes are limited in their range of motion. If you can extend their range of motion, if you can get their hip mobility stronger, their core, their base, if you can keep all of their impacts on the ground light, the better. Now, I don't have any of my athletes run on the track in the summertime. If we're going to do any running, it's form running, it's strides, nothing that is going to really test their body other than fatigue them just through reps and exercises and muscle fatigue, but that's about it. It's not designed to make them work too hard. It's to make sure that when they are working, they're working the right way. So when they do start to increase the intensity in the fall and winter, their base way of thinking is to always do things the right way. It's about following the steps and as a coach, being patient. So for example, this summer, we did our summer program, and then now we're in the fall training where we're incorporating a lot of conditioning. And there were a handful of athletes that did not go through every single workout, either didn't work hard enough or whatever it may be. But these type of athletes are around it, and these things happen. But the ones that begin running and they're running too soon and their body isn't ready for it, or they're not strong enough yet, and you have them running, most athletes that go from a slow twitch to a quick twitch intensity workout tend to have quad issues, and they start to feel that their quads are tearing or cramping or whatever. If an athlete is cramping or not really feeling right in the fall, it's perfect timing to let them rest and adjust their training. You have a whole long year to get them stronger. But when you do things right in the summertime, when you get to the fall, you shouldn't have these issues. But many times athletes will not train in the summer, then their first practice would be hard sprint workouts. Then that's what leads to hip flexor, quad injuries, calf injuries, hamstring injuries, because the muscles aren't ready to fire at that intensity yet. So it's all about taking it step by step. If you have any further questions on the breakdown of this, please shoot me an email at info@KeinanBriggs.com.